When George Washington crossed the Delaware, he had an African-American soldier in the same boat with him. A recreation by John Turnbull shows that to be a fact. Al Upshur, and I'm a former Air Force officer. Some years ago when I was stationed in Japan, I saw a video on General Chapman James, and that inspired me to go back and start doing some research. So here it is. We have what's called Earned Glory. We're dealing with the story of African Americans in U.S. military history. During that time period, or during the war, over 5,000 African Americans served as soldiers in the American Revolution. Some of the heroes are Crispus Attucks, who is considered the first African American to die for American freedom or independence. That took place at the Boston Massacre in 1770. John Adams, who would later become President of the United States, wrote that that was the beginning of the American Revolution. Some of the first battles Black patriots took part in, such as Bunker Hill, where you had people such as Peter Selm and Selm Poor considered the heroes of those battles. Also, we had the Rhode Island 400, which consisted of 400 African Americans when they fought the British and Hessian soldiers at the Battle of Rhode Island. And some of the other influential individuals who later on became very important members of the African American society was Prince Hall, who was a member of the American Revolution, a soldier, who founded the Black Masons. Also, you had Lamel Haynes, who ended up being a minister for an all-white church. My name is Al Upshur, and I'm from Philadelphia. I'm a former Air Force officer, and I've been inspired by African American history. Crispus Attucks, who was the first African American to die for the American Revolution. He has been described as 6'2" with curly hair. He also was a former slave who ran away to the city of Boston. He was the first to die that night at the Boston Massacre. John Adams, who would become President of the United States, said that that night the American Revolution was formed. Also, please know that there were approximately 5,000 African American soldiers that took part in the American Revolution. Unfortunately, after 1850, all their accomplishments were whitewashed from the history books. That's why we're here today, to let you know that they have what's called Earned Glory. I'm a former Air Force officer, having served in the Air Force for approximately 6 years. I spent 2 years in Japan, and I also spent time with the Strategic Air Command. Hopefully you were inspired by Earned Glory, and it will help you decide to go back and find out more about your heritage. Thank you. In 1978, when I was in Japan, I saw a video, and it had General Daniel Chapman James, who happened to become the first 4-star Black general in the history of the United States military. And watching this, I got really inspired because I wanted to know, who was this man? So that made me go back and start doing some research about the Tuskegee Airmen, which eventually led to me doing more and more research and finding out about what African Americans have done to help and contribute to this country. Okay, Crispus Attucks. I read an article in a magazine, and it was done by NBA great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, where he was describing how he found out about Crispus Attucks from one of his former teammates, who was Oscar Robinson, who had went to Crispus Attucks High School in Ohio. So that inspired me to start going back and doing some more research on this gentleman, who was considered the first to defy and the first to die in the American Revolution. Crispus Attucks, the first to defy and the first to defy, he inspired me to go and write this documentary entitled Earned Glory. Earned Glory was a passion that I've had for many, many years, to bring forth and bring about the history of African Americans in the United States military. I hope that you really have enjoyed it. Thank you.